Hello there, Mr. Chu here. Let's do another SAT review problem. So this is problems 13 and 14 from Module 2, and it is my fifth video from Module 2. And 13 and 14 are a little bit harder than the ones that we've done earlier in Module 2. And know that I have Module 1, all 27 problems. It's available on my YouTube channel. So if you subscribe, you're going to be able to find them in the Module 1 playlist for the SAT review. These problems have been released by the College Board for review for the SAT. They could be used also for review for the ACT and the ASVAB. Some problems may be easier and some harder, and these two are just much more time consuming. It's going to take me a while to explain them as well because there's lots of steps involved. So we need background, algebra, geometry, and other math, and know that the topics vary from 13 to 14. They are very different. Like this video if it's helpful to you. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Know that I do have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. There should be a subscribe button. Here's the long link. And I have an email address if you need to ask me a specific math question. It's askmrchu@gmail.com. So let's get to it since it's going to take some time to explain them. So it says the given equation defines a function f. For what value of x does f of x reach its minimum? All right, you have to know what the graph's going to look like. It's going to be a quadratic, and a quadratic is a parabola. So it could be graphed, or you can use the equation and write it in what's called standard form. So here's standard form here, where f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k, where a, h, and k are constants. Now, if you're able to use any type of graphing technology and you understand what the minimum is, go ahead and do it of the graph of a parabola. But if not, you need to convert the equation. All right, so I have to take this equation and I've got to get this 4 away from the x squared. And the only way I can do this, because I'm going to have to complete the square is what I'm going to have to do. Okay? So the only way I can do this is to break it into a factor and then add the 126 to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these first two terms and we're going to factor a 4 out of them so that I have an x squared here. Not a 4x squared. I need an x squared for me to be able to complete the square. And that's an algebra topic. You can do a search and look at some of my videos on completing the square if you need more practice with that. So if I would take and multiply this part out using the distributive property, I would get my original function. And then we just have to add the 126 so that I get that original back. So these two are equivalent. All right. So now we'll go to the next part. I can add and subtract 1/2 of this. So 1/2 of 50/4 is 50/8. And then we'll complete the square. So I take my original, rewrite it as the 4 times the x squared minus 4, 50/4x plus, and then I'm going to add 50/8 squared, and then I'm going to subtract 50/8 squared so that this figure, this amount right here, will be the same as the original one, and then we add 126. So what happens is these two actually cancel out. You haven't done any different. This is just so that you can complete the square. All right, so when I go ahead and take this long equation, I just rewrote it here. Now I'm going to take and complete the square. So it's going to be the 4 or the x minus 58 squared. That is the completing this square minus your 50 over 8 squared plus 126. These are equivalent. So now I'm going to use the distributive property, and we're going to do 4 times the first one minus 4 times the second one. And then this, we could write this as 4 over 1 so that I can simplify that a little better. So if I do 4 over 1 here, see the 4 over 1? Let me move my picture up so I get it out of the way from what I'm doing here. Look what happens. I get some factoring, or from canceling here, of a common factor. So let's go ahead and do it on this line. I'll go ahead and write on this now. So if you look at this 4 here will cancel here. And so that we're going to have 625 over 4 here. And then I want a 4 here for my 126. This line up above here where I'm just adding the 126. I need to have it forced, and then everything's going to be forced. I'm going to be able to simplify this. So there's a lot of math going on here. So all I did was just cancel this and get my 625 fourths, multiply here and get 504 over 4. And then I'm going to be able to combine those now. Just lots of arithmetic. There's lots going on. I rewrite it, and it's going to equal 4 times x minus 25 4 squared minus 121 over 4. And h is the minimum. Remember up here where the h is, right here. So h will be that minimum. And you could have found it using a graphing calculator if you understood what the minimum was of the graph. So that 25 over 4 is really 6.25 or 6 1/4. So that was a tough one, I know. So number 14, if you want to pause this and see if you can work it, and then I'll explain it. This is also a long problem. There's lots going on in this one as well. It takes my whole screen of steps. I'll read the problem. A small business owner budgets $2,200 to purchase candles. The owner must purchase a minimum, that's important, of 200 candles to maintain the discount pricing. If the owner pays $4.90 per candle to purchase the small ones and $11.60 per candle to purchase the large one, what's the maximum number of large candles the owner can purchase to stay within the budget and maintain his discount pricing? This is a business question. So the first thing you do in a word problem like this is you assign variables. S small candles. And I would have said L was the large ones, but L's look like ones. So I said, let's just say C for the larger candles. And we know the small candles cost $4.90 and the large candles cost $11.60. So from that, I can say that the cost, whenever you're talking about all the small candles, will be 4.9 times the number, or 4.9 S. S represents the number of small candles. And then the cost of the number of large candles, 11.60 C. All right. So that's the important things. Since the owner budgets $2,200 to purchase candles, she cannot spend more than that amount. And remember, it has something to do with 200. 200 is the minimum. And that'll be something that will be 2. And there is that particular one. 200 is the minimum. All right. So now we can write inequalities. So we need to write 2 inequalities and then combine them and write a compound inequality. The first inequality is going to be the total number of the small candles, the amount of the spent for small candles, 4.90 times S, plus the amount spent for the large candles, 11.60 C, has to be less than or equal to 2,200. It has to be. That's the budget. The second inequality says that S plus C is greater than or equal to 200. So there is a minimum, which means she has to buy more than that. I could have rewritten this, and I probably should have rewritten it. I can rewrite this like this. I can write this as 200, and then I can write it as less than or equal to, and I don't know how to underline that other than just using my pencil to draw. And that'll work. And then S plus C. Now those two are equivalent. This is the same as this. That is pre-algebra. All right, we're going to need that in a minute. So both sides of the second inequality must be multiplied by 4.9 to allow us to write a compound inequality. Why? Because I can't just have I've got to have 4.90s plus 11.60c on both sides, okay? So I'm going to have to take and solve for s. So I'm going to take and multiply both these sides by 490, and that's before I rewrote it. I was just telling you that I could rewrite it up there. So it ends up being 4.9s plus 4.9c greater than or equal to 980. And so then I subtract 4.9c from both sides, and I get 4.9s greater than or equal to 980 minus 4.90c. 11.60 to both sides. Two ways to do this, but this is just one of the ways. So then I get 4.90s plus 11.60c greater than or equal to 980 plus 670c. And now I can write the compound inequality. If you keep in mind now that I can reverse this if I need to. So do you see how in our original we have the 4.9s plus 1160c, and now we're going to have 4.9s plus 1160c. And when you have that, you can write a compound inequality. So first I'm going to rewrite, and if you look, I have the same thing here as here. See that? So that means that I can take this first double term here, 980 plus 670c, and then put less than or equal to, and then the 4.90s plus 1160 is going to be the same, so I just write it once, less than or equal to 2200. And then when I have that compound inequality, now I know that the first one has to be less than or equal to the second one. This is just using basic pre-algebra. So that's what I conclude. So if I subtract 980 from both sides, and it cancels out here, I subtract 980 from here, I get 670c less than or equal to 1220. Now when I solve that, I divide both sides by 670. It cancels here, and I have C, or the number of large candles, which it says, what is the maximum number of large candles? It says, that's what it's asking us. It's a calculator problem. 1220 divided by 670 is 182.09. What does that mean in candles? Can you have 0.09 of a candle? Nope, you got to have whole candles. So the number of candles has to be less than or equal to 182. So it could be 182 or less than that. So I told you it was a long problem. So now we get down to the end, and we remind everyone that there is a link to the Module 1 and a playlist with Module 1. There's a playlist with all the Module 2s I've done, and this is the 5th video in that set. Remember that there is a YouTube channel that I need for you to subscribe to. I need for you to follow me, TikTok, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Very important. It allows me to get this out to more people to help them on the SAT. You can also email me if you have a specific math question at askmrchew@gmail.com. Help me spread the word. I want to help you, whether it's in algebra, geometry, arithmetic, pre-algebra, with my new set of videos called Math Minutes, or with my SAT prep. Check out those new videos. I just started doing the Math Minutes. I've only done 3 of them whenever I recorded this. So there'll be more. I'm doing more daily. So check them out. I'm Mr. Chew. And remember that Mr. Chew wants to help you get ready for the SAT. So I'll see you in the next video.